Okay guys, welcome to today's video where we have a new circuit board that we're going to check out. It is a J1850 variable pulse width or GM class 2 to USB device. So we just present a serial port and then you can spit out your data as you see fit. This project is going to be open source, so you'll be able to see the source code, make changes to that, and the schematic will be available if you want to remix this into your own design or something. So yeah, definitely check the link in the description for the GitHub where you'll be able to see that schematic. You'll have access to the source code and all of that. And if you want to buy one of these, I will have them available on my eBay, so that way you don't have to go through all the effort of putting one together. You can have one ready to go and you can start playing with the source code. So what really pushed me to do this project is that I don't like always needing like an OBD2 port, and I don't like always needing 12 volts to be able to get it up and running. So my kind of design restraints that I had on this, or design requirements I gave myself, was it's got to run off of the USB power coming in. So 5 volts in has to make everything else to work. And I want a screw terminal instead of a OBD2 port. Okay, well, enough of the backstory of this. Let's take one or two of these and put them together to be something that looks like this. But before we do that, we do need to talk about today's sponsor, PCBWay. So let's take a look at their website. So as I mentioned, today's sponsor is PCBWay, and they sent us in these panelized versions of my circuit board and a stencil to be able to assemble it. Other than just these simple stencils and bare PCBs, you can get your CNC done, you get 3D printing done, PCB assembly, flex PCBs, pretty much any of your rapid prototyping needs to do projects like you see me doing on the channel all the time. I know I do a lot of the assembly myself and I get the bare boards because I like to do it. However, you can send in your Gerber files with your BOM and all of that and get PCBWay to do the assembly. You don't have to do it like I do on the channel. So definitely huge thank you to our sponsor, PCBWay, who sent us in these circuit boards. Sponsors like these really help me be able to make videos like this for you guys. So definitely I appreciate them sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys check out PCBWay and give them a shot. Okay, well, let's go ahead and assemble two of these, and don't run away here. This isn't just an assembly video. We will get into the protocol that I wrote for it and take a look at some of the improvements I've made to the J1850 variable pulse width transceiver portion of it, so the actual circuitry for the transceiver. So this isn't just an assembly video, stick around for the rest. Okay, let's apply the solder paste. We're just going to be doing these two. I don't have a circuit board underneath there. Next is putting on the parts. Okay, now with all of the parts on the board, we can place it on the hot plate. Okay, and here is a kind of first look at a final assembled board. We have a USB-B connector, we have screw terminals, and then, yeah, it's pretty much all right, other than I screwed up that footprint. It was the wrong size, and so kind of had to modify the board a little bit. So yeah, I mean, you can't really see, but I did mess up this footprint and have to kind of scrape away at the solder mask to get that one on there. And that's not flux all over it, it's conformal coating, just so that way it doesn't kind of corrode over time since I scraped at it. But yeah, that is an assembled board. So let's get these out of the way. So yeah, I've already prepped one of the housings, and I just need to get the thermal press inserts and kind of put them in. I just use my conical tip that I use for nothing else to put them in. I set the temperature real low, so I'm set down to like 230 degrees C. And then you just push it in just like that. So yeah, I wouldn't use your favorite soldering iron tip, just one that you're not going to use for anything else. They do sell little tips just for doing this, but I just find a large conical tip to work well. Because it's not like I'm going to use it for anything else. I can't stand conical tips. Okay, and then these are, so if you are trying to follow along at home and, you know, 3D print and build this, it's a 3M by 16 and then just a 3M insert that I'm using. So we have 3 of those. Okay, and so that is kind of the finished assembly here. So kind of got my username here, and then labeled the 2 pens that you're going to see. And I got a little hole so you can see the LED down in there. It's not a very bright LED. It's just to indicate if the microcontroller is running. So yeah, the D3 will light up once everything's powered up. It then turns on. So the microcontroller controls it. So it's not on the 3.3 volt line, it's just the microcontroller turns it on. So yeah, that is it assembled. Let's take a look at it and see it actually in like operation. Right, so now let's take a look at how you would go about programming the microcontroller. So all what you're going to need to do that is an ST-Link or a J-Link or something of that nature. One of these cheap clone ST-Links will work just fine for this. And then if you're making modifications to the actual firmware, if you're familiar with CubeID, all what you have to do is click the run button and it will compile it and put it on there. If you're going to program it from just the compiled bin that I'll have up on the GitHub, you would just use the STM32Cube programmer. You'd open the bin file wherever you have it. Well, it's actually an ELF connect. So we have connected to it, and then you will just download the memory, and we have now flashed it successfully with the new firmware. So now that we've programmed it, we can go ahead and connect it to the computer, and it will show up as a COM port. Now, we didn't need to program it to get it to show up as a COM port. It would have already. But yeah, so there we go. It shows up. We're using a CH340, so it just shows up as a CH340 device. So our COM port shows up, so everything appears to be working, but we need to actually like connect to it and verify. So that is where this program kind of comes in that I wrote in C#. You can connect to it via the serial port. So baud rate's already set and everything, so we just click connect and we connect to it, and we know the microcontroller's running because we get an acknowledgement. So we're sending a identify command here, and it acknowledges the identify. So this program that I wrote here allows you first of all, it does all of the features for the 99 to 02 swap box. So it's all just kind of automated buttons that you click and it will do all of that. But also you can just send frames as you see fit. So you can send whatever frame you'd like. So let's get a instrument cluster or something set up and we can take a look at that. Okay, so we have the instrument cluster wired up, and so our connections are, we have the battery connected, the ignition connected, ground and class 2 are wired to the instrument cluster, and then for our module we just have ground and class 2. So we can go ahead and connect with our program here. So just click connect. We'll put it in RX mode so we can see the frames that we're receiving, and we can turn on CRC trim. We get an acknowledgement when we send it these commands. CRC trim is not something we're actually sending to it. It's something we're doing in the background of this program. So yeah, some of the frames that we can send, you can find on my GitHub here of the known frames. It doesn't matter if you have the spaces or not. The program is just going to trim out all of the spaces. It does not handle like a 0x. So if you're putting that in there, it doesn't handle that. But yeah, so this command is the turn on all lights, as you can see highlighted there. So let's send that, and we can see all of our troubleshooting lights came on. We can go ahead and sweep the gauges, and all of the gauges sweep. So yeah, we can send our frames. Right now, the firmware is only supporting the low speed, the like 10.4 kilobits a second, not the 4x. So we just have the standard J1850 variable pulse width speed. We don't support the second one. I don't think there's any issues with the hardware for supporting it, the 4x speed, but in the firmware, there's just no support for doing that right now. Okay, well, hopefully you guys found that interesting, and hopefully you are interested in buying one of these guys that I'll have on eBay. So yeah, again, like I said, this project's really targeted towards being like your development kit to get started in this, because I know most of my projects really required you to like pick a microcontroller and add that to it or something like that. So this is supposed to be kind of where you can start. It's all supposed to be open source. I may not have it all up at the moment of uploading this video, but within the next couple of weeks, you should be able to get the source code to all of the stuff that I've been working on with this and get the Gerber schematics. I don't think I'm going to put the design files up just because I have some custom footprints that I made, and it's always hard to get that stuff linked correctly in KiCad. But yeah, it's mostly, so I'll have the schematic, I'll have the Gerbers, you can go make it. Just putting the actual design files up, I don't see the value in it, because it's not like you're just going to remix this ever so slightly in this. You're going to need to lay out all the rest of the stuff. So I just don't see the value in the actual design files. And it's always hard to get that stuff all linked correctly to share. But yeah, schematic, BOM, Gerber will be up. Source code will be up. That program will be up, but it may not all be up today uploading the video. It may take me a week or two just to get everything uploaded because I haven't uploaded it yet at the time of recording the video. But expect that. And again, a huge thank you to our sponsor, who's a new sponsor to the channel, PCBWay. I really enjoyed the process of working with them. And so I definitely plan on doing more projects with them in the future. Hopefully you guys will check them out. Again, big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys are inspired to work on your own projects in J1850 variable pulse width, because that is the intent here. I know I do sell some of this stuff and it may look like I am, just trying to profiteer off this one idea. That's not really the intent here. It is to just try to share what I figured out, because when I got started on this, there was no information out there. I started on this before the Makita M2 really came out, but by the time I'm releasing these kind of projects, that had come out, and I based this stuff off of that, because I was originally working with just obsolete parts that I was able to source online. Some of those obsolete parts I actually was selling. I still sell, like the 68HC58. But I also have worked with some of the obsolete transceivers that I haven't sold. Maybe I'll do a video on those because you can still buy them out there. They're just obsolete, so you shouldn't use them in like a product you're going to sell, but they're perfectly fine to use in a project like this if you're just doing a one-off. So maybe you'll see some content on that in the future. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.